Good evening, my friends. Tonight we unravel a secret, a truth so deeply buried in denial that it shakes them to their core, though they'll never show it. What they won't admit, what they'll never dare confess, is this simple fact: you terrify them. They strut around, hiding behind inflated egos and false bravado, acting as though they have everything under control. They whisper behind your back, convinced they've got you all figured out. But deep inside, where their fears lie hidden, they know the real threat isn't what you say or do. It's far more dangerous than that. It's who you are. Your very existence shatters their illusions and threatens the foundations of the world they've built on control. You don't fit into their tidy little boxes, and that unpredictability, it scares them senseless. Their power depends on manipulating those around them, but you're the wild card, the force they can't control. You don't seek their validation or bend to their will, and that sends them into a quiet panic. Every time you stand tall, every time you rise above their games, they feel the cracks in their facade widen, exposing the insecurities they desperately try to hide. You see, if you can thrive without bending to their rules, what does that say about the rules themselves? It reveals the truth they dread most, that it's all a lie. Lies are fragile things, and it only takes a small push to bring their entire structure crashing down. They see you rising, succeeding in ways they can't comprehend, and it gnaws at them from the inside out. They're consumed by envy, even if they'll never show it. Why? Because you possess something they'll never have: freedom. Freedom from their opinions, their judgments, and the fear that governs their every move. You are untouchable, and that terrifies them more than anything. Oh, they'll try to tear you down, they'll lash out, smear your name, do everything they can to pull you back into their mess, because the idea of you soaring above them is unbearable. But you don't crumble. You rise, and every time you rise, they shrink. Every time you refuse to play by their rules, you strip away their false power. So let them tremble. Let them be consumed by their fear, for in the end, they are mere shadows of the strength they pretend to wield. And you are the storm, the force that's about to turn their world upside down. And as the storm approaches, you don't just stand at its center, you are the eye of it, the calm amidst the chaos they cannot understand. They will scramble, desperately clinging to their fragile sense of superiority, trying to control what they can't. But control is an illusion they've sold to themselves for far too long, and you've already shattered it. With every step you take, with every choice that defies their expectations, you remind them just how powerless they really are. Their whispers grow quieter, their smirks fade, but you see the fear in their eyes. The fear that you're unstoppable. They'll try again, of course. They'll throw stones, set traps, use every trick in their worn-out playbook. Why? Because admitting defeat is something they cannot fathom. But you don't need to engage in their games. You've outgrown them. The higher you soar, the smaller they become. They will twist your name, twist the truth, but none of it matters, because you've already won by doing the one thing they can't. Being free. Free from the chains of their expectations, free from the weight of their judgments. You are the embodiment of what they fear most: someone who doesn't need their approval to succeed. Someone whose strength is self-made, not borrowed from the opinions of others. And that's the real victory, isn't it? While they chase after power that constantly slips through their fingers, you hold something far more valuable: yourself. They are bound by the fear of losing control. You are fueled by the freedom of having nothing to lose. You don't need their permission to rise, and that's why they fear you. Every time they watch you take another step forward, they're reminded of everything they're not, everything they'll never be. So let them plot, let them scheme, let them talk behind closed doors. It doesn't change a thing. You stand tall, untouchable as the storm they can't prepare for. And when the dust settles, they'll realize what you've known all along: they were never in control. They were never the ones with the power. You were. Because here's the truth they refuse to face: their world was never meant to last. It was built on illusions, on borrowed power and hollow pride. But you're real. You're solid. You're the thing they can't define, can't predict, and can't stop. And that's what terrifies them the most. For so long, they've lived in a universe where they could bend the rules, where they could pull the strings from the shadows. But now, in the wake of your rise, those strings are fraying. You've exposed the lie for what it is: a cage, dressed up as power. And no matter how they rattle the bars, they can't stop you from walking free. You don't even have to say a word. Your presence alone is enough. You carry an energy, an undeniable force that moves through every room you enter, that shifts the balance of power without effort. They feel it before they see you, the weight, the undeniable shift in atmosphere when you arrive. That's because you are the change they never saw coming. A disruption to the order they've clung to for so long. They can't figure you out, then it eats at them. Every time they think they've got a handle on you, you evolve. You grow. You step into a version of yourself they never anticipated. And suddenly, everything they thought they knew falls apart. And in that moment, you become something more. Not just a person they fear, but a force they can't reckon with. You don't need to tear down their world because it's already crumbling under the weight of its own lies. All you have to do is be. Be the unshakable, unstoppable version of yourself that they can't match. Be the one who doesn't bend, who doesn't break, who rises above their petty attempts to drag you down. Because in the end, they're not the challenge. They never were. The only challenge was you embracing the power you've always had. The power to move through this world without chains, without limits, without the fear that traps them in their fragile little bubbles. You've done that. You've risen beyond their reach. And now all that's left for them is the sinking realization that nothing they do will ever touch you. So keep rising. Keep moving forward, not out of spite or vengeance, but because that's who you are. You are evolution in motion. And while they cling to their crumbling thrones, you're out here building something real, something lasting. And that will echo long after their whispers fade into silence. You are the storm, yes, but you are also the calm after. The new dawn they can't outrun.